former operator in the ghost unit of the Shabak. That's one of the most secret, deadliest units in the Shabak. It reminded me of a story that I had one time, and a member of my old unit sent a duress message, and I see a picture that was taken recently. And in that picture behind him, I can see the wall, and I can see the window frame, and I can see the shutters, and I kind of figure out dying as we speak, or maybe he tried to hang himself and he had regrets in the last moment and he's struggling for his life. And I just know that every moment counts. So what I did is I grabbed a third phone. This app might save your life, especially if you're coming from Canada, Europe, the UK, some cities in the United States. Created by a guy from the Shabak and his colleague, dear friends of mine, who shortly after October 7th started creating this app that was designed to help empower the local communities, because they saw the immediate need of the local communities to be able to defend themselves, to be able to stand together until the law enforcement, the police, the army, the tax-paying entities can come and help protect them. These two gentlemen, Perry is a very dear friend of mine, a former Shabak operator who's been already out of the service long enough that I can share his name, along with his colleague Nathaniel. Both are active duty reservists in the IDF, who sat with each other and used their experience, their knowledge from developing apps from the world of security, from the world of the military, and from just simply being an Israeli, and thought, how can we create an app that can help save lives in the most simple, robust, direct, and effective way? The app right now is commonly used in the kibbutzim around Gaza, in towns around the northern border. It has been designed directly out of the lesson learned from October 7th. And that is this app, and I'm going to be talking about it. It's called Kabat. And they have these really cool, simple functions to make it so easy to use, and we'll talk about it in a second. What happened on October 7th is people came to the understanding that you cannot fully trust the government, the police, the army, and completely rely on them, that they will be the one to rescue you. You have your own responsibility towards yourself, towards your family, towards your community, to be able to stand your ground, to be able to protect yourself in case something duress happened. And you know what, let's take it home. We just saw it right now happening in Amsterdam with the lynching of the Jews and the mobs running around on a Jew hunt, where there were hundreds of Arab Uber drivers, second, third generation of migrants running in the streets trying to hunt for Jews, going around beating people just because they look like Jews, or even taking people on the ground and forcing them to show them passports so they can recognize, are you a Jew or you're not a Jew, so they know if they should lynch you or not. Many Jewish people were unaccounted. Some jumped to the river. Some went to hide in different houses and different restaurants and casinos and hotels in the bathroom, and they were unable to track and find them. And Israel was about to send a special rescue convoy from the IDF to go and rescue them until they actually managed to find and account to every one of them. But it took a long time, and that time can be crucial. That time can be life and death situation. This is happening in France. This is happening in Belgium. In Amsterdam, we saw a clear case of how incapable was the police, how they were unable to protect the people, they were unable to find the people, they were unable to even arrest the radical jihadist Muslims who were going on a Jew hunt. And this is happening in Europe. Right now, we had an announcement that in Berlin, some neighborhoods have become unsafe for Jews and LGBTQ and people who are pro-Israel. They are literally asking in Germany to try to hide some Jewish or LGBTQ symbols from yourself, like a kippah, like the Star of David, or like the different types of clothing, because some of these neighborhoods, people might try to hurt you. That is happening in Europe, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's just gonna get worse because Europe is not ready. And here's where this app comes to place, because in that click of a button, you just click it and you run. Run to safety, secure yourself, secure your family. And then your friends, your trustworthy people will know how to help you, how to rescue you, how to direct the authorities to go and find you. You see what happened in Amsterdam, what's happening in France, what's happening now in Germany. It's just gonna get worse. Europe have opened its gates to all these radical jihadists, welcoming them with a red carpet, naively thinking that they will help change their ways. What's actually happening is that these radical Muslims are changing Europe, and it's making Europe unsafe for Jews, for Israelis, for pro-Israelis, for Christians in general, and it's just gonna get worse. People might call me an Islamophobe. I am not. I'm just a realistic. But either way, when these angry Arab mobs were running in the street looking for the Jewish people so they can go on their Jew hunt rampage, many Israelis went unaccountable. Some jumped to the river, like I said, some got their stuff, belongings stolen, some didn't have time to send a message. And Israel was so concerned that Israel have seen that the Amsterdam police was failing. They couldn't respond in time, they couldn't control the situation, they couldn't defend their Jewish community. So Israel prepared an IDF rescue airplane with experts for rescue missions like that to go into Holland and rescue the Jewish and the Israeli people from Holland. It was called off only once all these people were accounted for. Do you understand? So that's how important it is to account for people, because then they knew we can arrest them with other means. From my last visit in Israel, I got to sit down with one of my dear friends who is a former operator in the ghost unit of the Shabak. That's one of the coolest, most secret, deadliest unit in the Shabak. And we sat together in the streets of Yafo and had some coffee, and we talked about what are the main lessons learned that we can bring the public in order to help protect themselves after we saw what happened on October 7th. And one of the main conclusions that came is that whenever you have people trying to break to your house, people trying to break to your car, people trying to hunt you down just because you're a Jew, because you're pro-Israel, or because you're a Christian, or any other reason, first thing is get yourself and your loved one to safety. If that's a safe house, if that's a bathroom somewhere in the subway, if that's a restaurant where you can lock the door, get yourself out of harm's way immediately. Don't do the mistake of trying to use your phone and communicate right now with your friends, because that can cost your life, your safety, and etc. That was one of the mistakes that people did on October 7th. Another thing is create this neighborhood watch, this friends watch, WhatsApp group, Telegram group, people that are trustworthy, people that you know that in that moment, while you're running to grab your kids from their bedroom and take them to the safe room, send a duress message, help, or I don't know what, some code word that you guys designed, and they will call the police for you. They will inform the authorities for you. Once you're in the safe room and you've managed to secure yourself in, then you start communicating and dealing with the family. And that's the thing. While people are trying to break your door and you're fighting for your family right now, you're not gonna have time to start scrolling down all the Telegram groups, all the WhatsApp groups. Find the right group with your mother, your father, your friends from the army, or I don't know what, and tell them what is happening. Send them a Google Map location and all these things that are necessary things to help save your life. And what this app did, it made it as simple as possible. You join it for free, and you create a group with your community, and you propose a new group. And in that group, it's called Kabat, which is the Hebrew shortcut for the words security officer. But in that app, you create your own group for your own community, and you assign roles. You have all the members in that community, and then in case of a duress situation, when someone clicks the button, and it could be the medical button or the security button, the notification will go immediately to the relevant people, and it will send them a phone call, or wake them up in the middle of the night, it'll send them an email, or the medical personnel, and it will give them your location. So they will know that you are in a duress situation, and they will know your location. And they can assign it to be sent immediately to the police, to the security team around your neighborhood, whatever you choose. But bottom line, and make it user-friendly, very efficient, very robust. And sending that signal, that can be the difference between life and death. It saddens me to say, but this is the reality we're living in Europe. Imagine you are a father or a mother, just took your kids to watch a football game like they did in Amsterdam, and then you have this angry Arab mom running around on a Jew hunt rampage. Or you just drove your car and you saw this friendly, peaceful, violent pro-Palestine demonstration. They start engulfing your car, and they realize that you are either pro with Israel, or that you are a Jew, or that you're a Christian that doesn't have the same views in life like they have, and they want to start lynching you right now. Now you might be hiding in the metro, in a restaurant, in the casino, holding the door, fighting for your life, holding it so they don't come in, trying to protect your family. The reason that I'm sharing this story is because it shows you that sometimes you have these friends that might be able to reach you before the police. And we all have these 9 to 6 friends, as they call them. Someone you can call between 9 in the morning to 6 in the evening. And you can ask them to help you maybe fix something in the garage. You can ask them to help pick your kids from school, and they're probably going to do that. But then you have the friends that you can call them at any time at night, 3 a.m. And you know that when you call them, they will pick up the phone. And while you're talking to them, you'll hear them already putting the pants, putting the boots, putting the belt, grabbing the car key, because they know that something happened and they're gonna go and be there for you. And I hope that you have these friends in your life. Usually your father or your mother are definitely these kind of people. Mothers are probably the best agents in finding their children. My mom found me in the craziest places, in the craziest situations that I couldn't even believe. That reminded me of a story that I had one time with a very dear friend and a member of my old unit who sent a duress message of possible self-harm. I just got back to Israel from a work trip in Japan, and I was staying at a friend's flat in Tel Aviv. And you won't believe it actually happened at 3 a.m. I get this phone call from the brother of this dude. And I wake up and I answer, and he tells me, listen, man, have you heard from my brother? I says, no, what do you mean? He says, he's been sending weird messages to all of his family members, childhood friends, and etc. Maybe he sent you something. And I looked at the message, and the message said, "Thank you for everything, bro. See you in the next one." Now, his brother was panicking. Shortly after, I get a phone call, and he asked me, "Please help me find my brother." Right after I hang up, I get another phone call from a friend of his mother. She calls me, she says the same thing. He just sent me that message, "Please help us find him." I don't finish hanging up, and I get another phone call from another childhood friend, and they're all super concerned for this guy. Now, see, that particular friend is working all over the world. He's one of these very international friends that is just, he could be anywhere on the planet. And he's also one of these guys that if he doesn't want to be found, it's almost impossible to find him. So I jump out of bed and I went to my friend and I grabbed his phone. And one phone I called the police, and the other phone I start calling him. He's not answering, the police is answering. I try to ask them if they can help track that signal or maybe find him. They say they can't do this right now. And they basically tell me, "Sorry, we can't help you unless he calls us or you give us his location." So I tell the police, "I'll come back to you." And I hang up on them. And I go on his social media profile. He's barely ever active there. And I see a picture that was taken recently. And in that picture behind him, I can see the wall, and I can see the window frame, and I can see the shutters and the design and the ambient of the lights. And I kind of figure out which some of the countries that he might be on based on that picture and the information I can get from that picture. So I start calling former unit members and his friends that I know that are in these countries and start trying to ask them where he might be. Now, you need to understand, these guys, these are the kind of guys that it's just not easy to get information from. Even from a friend like me about another friend, they're not giving information very easily, and I managed to convince them to give me the information because of the situation. And I ended up zooming down. I'm sitting there, it's 3 in the morning. My pants are on, my boots are on, my backpack is ready, the car key. I'm ready to go, and I'm just doing this like war room, kind of like, the hunt after Osama bin Laden, trying to figure out all kind of clues where that guy might be. And I managed to pin it down to a hotel that he possibly might have been in the last few days. So I call that hotel, and the lady in the reception answers, and I tell her that I need her to help me find this guy. Is he in the hotel, and if she can go to his room? And she tells me, "Sorry, I can't help you. I can't tell you that information." And I try to explain to her this is an emergency situation, but she was very professional. She told me, "If the police call me, I can give them that information. You, I can't." So what I did is I grabbed the other phone, I called the police, and I told them, "Go to that hotel, talk to that lady. He might be there." And you see, time is of the essence. In my mind right now, he might be overdosing on some medications, dying as we speak, or maybe he tried to hang himself and he had regrets in the last moment and he's struggling for his life. And I just know that every moment counts. So what I did is I grabbed the third phone. Now I'm sitting there with 3 phones on the table right now, and I call the same reception lady, only this time with a different voice, and I identify myself as one of the retail company that is providing them bed sheets and cutleries. And I tell them that there's an audit inspection and we need to talk to the head janitor right now because there might be a delay with the shipment and it's gonna make everybody look really bad. I need him, it's urgent. She panics, obviously, and she gives me the head janitor. Now, why am I talking to the head janitor? You see, in these hotels, the guy that have all the keys, the head janitor, usually everybody want to be his friends. He knows everyone. He can access and reach every single room. So I eliminated every obstacle of a broken phone, and I got to the right person that I know that can go and find him and get him. I call this guy, and I go clean with him. I said, "Listen, buddy, I need your help. My friend might be in your hotel." That's his name. That's how he looks like. "Can you confirm?" He checks quickly, says, "Yes, he's here. Please go to his room, open the door, and tell me that he's fine. He might be harming himself as we're speaking. I'll call you in a few minutes. Please give me a status report." I call with the police, again, trying to see if they're on the way. They tell me, "Yes, we're figuring it out. We're on the way." I tell them, "Get there right now." Now, guess who got to my friend first? The janitor or the police? Surprise, surprise, it was the janitor. He got there, I call him, he answered the phone, tell me everything is fine, your friend is safe, he's drunk and he's pissed, but he's safe. I'll call you back. 2 hours later, that same friend calls me from the police station and he is pissed. And he's telling me, "Bro, did you call the cops on me?" And I gave him cow poop like no tomorrow. I said, "Listen, you are in no position to give me shit right now. Do you know how many people did you scare? Do you know how many people love you out there? And you know what? You might have the 9 to 6 friends, or you might have the 3 a.m. friend. When you call me, if you send me that kind of a message, you need to know that I will do anything possible to find you and to rescue you. That's the kind of friend that I am. So you better next time think twice before you send a stupid drunken message like that." In general, man, I'm telling you seriously, you need to seek help. And I told him to go and seek professional help. And you know what? At first he was mad at me, but he went and he sought that help. And he called me about a month later and he thanked me for that. And here's the thing, your mental health is more important than your career. It's more important than some of your relationships. do not take it lightly. And if you have friends that are showing duress situations, try to be there for them and try to help them reach mental health that can literally save lives. I recommend that you create this neighborhood watch group, and in that group you can give roles. You can say, this guy, he's a former police officer, he's a firefighter, he's a retired veteran, he's a colleague of mine that I trust, he's a childhood friend that I know that is one of these guys that will always do the right thing, and I know that I can trust him to go and find me and help me. And you can put them in a security group. Or you know someone is a doctor, is a paramedic, someone have just done first aid course. You can put them in a medical group. And what happened is, from out of all the members in this app, if you click the button, it's not going to notify everyone. You don't want to create unnecessary panic. It's going to send them an email notification about your location, and it's going to call them in their phone and wake them up if needed, so they can come and help you in that situation. And it could be that they will be the one to call the police, to call the fire department, to call the security agency that will help go and find you and rescue you. And that's the whole idea with this app. And that's why I think my friends Perry and Nathaniel, they've done a great job eliminating all the obstacles to bring a very Israeli solution, which is very direct, very robust, it works, and it's user-friendly, to help minimize the interaction of sending a duress situation and sending your location. What happened in Amsterdam, for example, some people had to jump into the river to run away from these lynching Arab Uber drivers, second, third generation jihadists who came to literally hurt them. They were going in the streets, beating up people that looked like they're from Israel. They were going up, interrogating people, forcing them, pinning them to the ground, forcing them to show their passports so they know if he's an Israeli or not, so they know if they should lynch him or not. Some of these people didn't have time to start scrolling down to the Telegram, WhatsApp, and find the right person and send the Google Map location. Some of them literally jumped into the river. After that, the phone stopped working, freezing cold water to save themselves in Europe just because he's a Jew or he's an Israeli. So if you had that app, just click that button and send a beacon of distress to the people that you trust, that 3 a.m. friends that you might have, and then you can go. Run for your life, fight holding the door while they're trying to break in, try to drive your car out of this demonstration protest while they're trying to flip your car and you're just holding in, fighting for your life. One of these friends will pick up the phone, will find the location, and will notify the law enforcement about where he is, what is he doing, so they can come and rescue you. There's a difference between being paranoid to being prepared. It's not the same thing. Paranoia, fear, phobia will make you do irrational decisions that will lead to mistakes. Being responsible, being prepared is literally the right thing to do. It is your responsibility to make sure that you are in charge of your own safety, the safety of your family and your community, and that you take the right steps necessary to be ready for different situations like that. In one of my next videos, I'm going to share with you some of the practices that I use, some of the things that I have in my bag ready for these demonstration riots, some of the things that I have in my car, some of the things that I have in my house, some of the techniques that I've learned from the time in the service and from my time traveling the world to help ensure that I am better prepared to deal with duress situations like these ones, and it saddens me to say, like the ones we're going to start seeing more and more in Europe. So I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm telling you guys, it's just going to get worse until it might get better, and I hope it gets better. But until then, you need to take that responsibility very, very seriously. So I hope you found today's video informative and helpful. And if you like my content, click the like, share, subscribe, the whole shebang. It is important for my channel to keep growing. And if you want to find a direct way to help me keep doing the work that I'm doing for you, because after all, I am doing this for free and out of my own free time, and I'm trying to make a living out of it, go and check my Patreon, where you can find direct, practical ways to help support my work and help support my channel so it keeps growing. But until then, guys, don't do anything stupid. And in general, just take your own safety, the safety of your loved one and your community very seriously. I'm being very serious, guys. It's very important. See you next time. Gosh, I love this Snoopy.